en route to Southport, and we've stopped off Eton Golf Club for James to have a putter lesson. A couple of things that you want to work on today? Is there anything jumping out?
Just, yeah, I've been putting pretty well over the last couple of years, but St Elian a couple of weeks ago, I just really got a bit edgy on the greens. I have a slight pull tendency.
Yeah.
I just felt like that's creeping back in a little bit, so maybe discuss that with him and see what's going on.
Just an opportunity. Driving up,
absolutely.
Playing a bit of golf, and we thought we'd stop in and get you ironed out before we get on to the links.
Perfect.
So James sometimes has an outward path.
Okay.
To his stroke, sometimes goes out to in, so cut across it a little bit of a pull tendency in there. That's generally what James is always working on, yeah.
Okay, and that's something that generally you'll find with a lot of players, if they have a tendency, they'll revert back to it over a period of time?
All the time, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's not very often they'll go the other way. You'll give them something to work on, and then they'll go into maybe that push tendency and then work on that. It invariably is always there, yeah. Do you not use the line?
I do, yeah. Sometimes not.
So there's no like right to left I'll use it or break input that I'll use it. It's just purely down to...
I don't fully know how to use, line the line up correctly, I don't think.
Okay.
Because sometimes the putter doesn't sit well behind the line. So I'd maybe like a better routine of how to line the ball up.
Yeah.
So to me, that looks from my eyes as though that's going left edge. And then if I go in and hit that, I then feel like I've hit the perfect putt.
You somebody who likes to see someone use a line, or each
it doesn't
their
matter
own?
really. It depends. I would say it depends on how well they aim.
But you like to see some consistency whether you're using it or not using it?
I would, yeah. If it was me, I wouldn't like the sketchiness around when are you going to use it and when are you not.
See, I get over that and I feel like I'm aiming left.
Okay.
For a left edge putt, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, you're, in my opinion, you're aiming dead centre.
And then that feels like a big push.
Starting on line, man.
Yeah, so that's, I'm saying, I feel that I almost need to feel like I'm hitting a big push to actually start the ball on line.
You take your setup behind this now.
Yeah. So that line's more tilted over that way compared to what I have it.
Tilted to the right?
No, I tilt the ball. So when I'm doing my line, I feel like my line's a lot more tilted that way. See how those lines are sat differently? So that's where I'm not 100% sure whether I'm lining the line up correctly. Okay. So then I get over it, my eyes see it maybe differently.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing we need to check, because if you're not trusting the line, your eyes are in the wrong position.
Yeah, because your line now, I feel like I need to get a little bit more over it.
Okay.
And then now that line looks a bit different. I actually look a little bit more, feel like I'm a bit more down the line.
Okay.
Whereas here, I feel like I'm inside the line. So, with my eyes, yeah.
Okay. But regardless of those balls then, okay,
yeah.
Before we even jump onto that, if you put your putter to the back of that, where is that lined? Where's that line of the tee line?
That feels like it's 6 to 8 inches left of the hole.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, that is an issue, because that's running like left centre. You're either going to self-correct there and either close the putter face initially, which like you said you don't really do, you'd probably leave it where it is, so you'd aim, but then because you're self-correcting, your perception is left, you're going to pull it, aren't you?
Yeah.
So we don't actually know if the pull happens. If you were to aim correctly and your perception was correct, you might just hit it, you might not pull it.
Yeah, you might just hit it straight.
It could be purely like a reaction. Like if you aim right with driver, yeah, but you don't know you're aiming right, you're almost certainly going to pull it, aren't you?
Yeah. My shot
on your start line.
A pull fade, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now, to me, your eyes look inside the line when you take a dress.
Yeah.
Do you use a mirror? Ever? Okay.
I used to, but I went to go on a mirror recently and I couldn't see my shoulders in it.
Okay.
So therefore I would be
Yeah.
inside the line.
Yeah, you will be really realistic, and obviously it depends on tilts as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In effect, because you could have loads of neck bend, couldn't you? Which therefore you couldn't see your shoulders, which you don't have. But yeah, that's interesting really, because the fact that you see that as a negative, but I see that as a positive.
Not necessarily negative. It's a, like I say, I've been putting really well, so
Yeah.
I'm obviously managing it, but it's just a case of if I've got a bit more fact-based info to go on, it makes it easier on my bad putting days to work out why.
But I think as well, what we could do is create a setup position or a drill almost, like a base station of where you practice from and even warm up from. Because you don't have to set this up. Let's say you were to use a mirror, you don't have to set it up to a hole and just hit putts, can't you? Just getting used to being in the correct position as you take a draft. You're right though in what you say though in terms of how I align, because my tendency is to line it that way.
Slight tilt to the right. Mine's slight tilt to the left, but I don't know whether one suits me or the other because I've not done enough testing with somebody to. Because that's where I don't know whether it's central now. That's where I've not known whether it's eyes, line on the ball alignment or face alignment.
Well, you match the face well, but if your perception is left, 6 to 8 inches left, you're either going to adjust the putter face, which you don't, or you're going to pull it, aren't you?
That's where I think I aim right and pull it.
So your left eye won't be visible. You want your left eye there. So when you're practicing, you can get into position, but don't put the putter in.
With my left eye. Wow, that looks different.
And then put the putter in.
Now that feels alignment different. So when I go back here, that's when I feel like I'm aiming left. Now I feel like I'm much more over it.
That started online.
That felt completely different.
You stand just over 11 inches away.
Is that normal?
Yeah, I mean obviously everyone stands slightly different, depends on height etc, doesn't it? But as long as you can find the right position. I think this is just as important as eye position though.
Well, how far you stand away?
Because otherwise you're going to change your tilt all the time, aren't you? So like if you do a mirror setup like this, what's just as important is to you're like 11.25 inches there away from the ball. If you get that right, you can't really get out of setup.
In terms of the way your eyes are seeing it.
Because your eyes are in position and you're also always the same distance.
Because that feels completely different to me now, because I feel like I'm looking in a straight line down there. But when I'm here, my eyes are obviously probably that far inside the hole. When I look left, which is why I think I've been feeling like I'm then aiming left.
The majority of people are right eye dominant, right-handed, aren't they?
Whereas mine's changed over time.
That's where yours is an advantage, you see, because you can't put a ball position under your right eye. It's too far back. What about your pace control? How's that been?
Has been brilliant. Apart from St Mellion, where I was starting to think technically and struggling, and the pace just completely went. So, because I'm not thinking too much, pace control is generally really good. Just because my feel has always been good with the putting. It's just when I get into technical thoughts a little bit, that's when I lose my pace. I think from the work we've done over the last couple of years, the putting has improved quite a bit, but still in terms of practice I don't really have any kind of good things to practice in terms of like working out what I'm doing. I kind of have an idea of my stroke tendency wise, but I don't really ever video it or...
And what would you do for technique then?
I just go on my sort of misses, so if I start pulling it, I feel like I'm coming over the top. Again,
But you wouldn't set anything up?
No, I use a template true plane, and I also have the Visio 12 degree kind of, which I really like, so I do use those things. But again, I still don't know whether my eyes are in the right place.
If you were hitting balls on the range, what would you do for technique?
Feel.
Do you?
Don't really use any training aids like that.
Just an alignment stick now, that's about it. Not
don't even use that, no.
Don't you?
Because if I use an alignment stick, I feel like I'm aiming left. But I think that comes from the slight right aim pull tendency. So then any time I've used an alignment stick, I feel like I'm aiming left. And then I always want to turn onto it, so then I just feel like it's going to go further left. So you want to keep this nice and clean then, because we don't want to give you loads of training aids if that's not your sort of natural tendency.
How's he doing?
He's doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Key things you've picked up on? From the conversation,
Well,
I
a lot from really what James was saying, really, about his eye position, maybe a bit more structure about the practice, in terms of getting him into a more routine setup position, because obviously the advantage with putting is it's always the same setup, isn't it, versus the other areas. And then maybe a little bit around his loft control, just noticed, that's all. I'd say there's too much loft presented. Obviously we haven't chatted about that yet, but potentially something in that. It's just launching it too high. So you present like 5 degrees aloft, over 5 degrees aloft at setup, and then have to de-loft it.
That stems from my hand sitting behind it.
Yeah.
And I have been putting better because last time we worked on getting that. So in terms of when I was here in August, we were kind of setting up a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
And I have been putting quite well with that, but when I get the pull going,
Okay.
it almost gets worse. That makes.
Okay. What you feel like that could cause a pull?
Yeah, because I think I sit behind it, so then
Yeah.
the face sits a little bit
Yeah.
open. Whereas that there,
You know when you played St Melian,
yeah.
was that the first time you played on quicker greens?
This year, no.
No.
Quicker the greens, the better for me.
Okay.
Slow greens are generally strong. They were just a little bit quick and bumpy, and I had no,
Okay.
yeah, just lost complete confidence.
Which could be a little bit, couldn't it? Because bumpy and launching the ball up,
Yeah.
you're almost giving it a bump as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
At the same token.
Yeah.
Because obviously the more bumpy the greens, it becomes just a free-for-all. The better rollers have better success.
How often would you then, let's say, if someone's looking at maybe even changing their putter? Is that something that you kind of work with as well, or do you just try and work with the player that what they bring?
1%. I think more so you work with what they're actually doing, rather than just looking for the sort of easy fix of a putter. But I would say with putting, you know, it's more the person than the equipment. But obviously it can have an effect, definitely. It can have an effect on your biases and things like that, even as much as just the lines, where they're positioned on the putter can make a difference. So the amount of offset in terms of the shaft position, the location, can all make a difference. But yeah, I would say you work with them first and then have a look at more of the putter fitting. Okay, let's have a look at a right to left putt then.
That feels like a little bit left of it.
No, it's good.
Yeah, see, I think that's where it's enough practice at alignment and
Yeah.
something in practice to actually get a bit of trust there.
Yeah. So you started all them online?
Yeah. I feel like I'm way more over the ball, and then I'm just.
Yeah.
But it feels completely different here because I feel my hands are here, so it makes it easier
Okay.
for me to feel that rotation element.
Yeah.
When I'm here, like I say, I feel like I go in there and then
Yeah. Okay.
whip it out and over. But I think I've got loads of mismatches that kind of align.
Yeah, you have. But you want them as minimal as possible.
Correct. That's where.
That's what you want. You can't just go, oh well, I'll just keep doing that, because like you said, there will be days where.
When it goes off, I haven't
goes
got
off.
a reference point to go
Yeah.
back to. I just, yeah.
Whereas if it goes off, realistically, let's say you're in a multi-day tournament, when you finish the round or whatever, or the next morning, you get the mirror down, you position it 11¼ inches away, you'd start working on your left eye back over, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And then you're back
Initially.
to a, yeah.
And
you're back
then
to a
you
reference
should
point.
feel pretty back into position.
Yeah.
Just so I'm aware, you're now lining this line up, what, slightly more kind of what I call upright?
Almost tilted to the right. So I would be somebody who aligns it a little bit, feeling like
It's leaning towards you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Not towards me, to the left.
Yeah, but that if you're putting from here,
Towards your
that's
body. yeah.
putting towards your leaning
Yes.
towards your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Whereas Graham says he's almost the opposite way.
Yeah.
Get it upright.
Yeah.
And
so
that
it's a
makes it
little bit
feel
almost leaning away.
so that leaning kind of this way towards you feels like when you get set up and he aligns you up, you look like you're left.
I feel like I'm left from
whereas when it's more upright, because I see this a lot with, or hear this a lot with a lot of people say that they feel like when they set up with the line, it feels like it goes left.
Yeah.
But you just saying by tilting the ball this way more, might just change the eye alignment slightly?
Yeah, well, it's similar to like face plane tilt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
In terms of how it's positioned, but it's also like, because James is, you can have like a 20/20 eyesight, you can have the best eyesight in the world, but if your eyes when they take position over the ball aren't perceiving the ball to be aiming where you think it's aiming, then you're never really going to hit good putts.
So for the people watching this video, who maybe struggle with this, but like to use a line, you're saying just have a little play around with where the ball sits.
Yeah, I would say the easiest way of doing it would be put an alignment stick down in relation to a hole. Don't look where it's actually aimed, and then position a putter behind it. And just have a look and test yourself from there. So I position that down. I don't know where that's aimed. If I borrow that, I don't know where that's aimed. And then if I take position here, let's say I'll go over and set my eyes over to the opposite to James. Okay, and then my perception's going to be slightly off now from where I normally sit. So I would say that is aimed at a couple of centimetres outside the right. So I'd say it's about here. But then it might be right, but I wouldn't presume it is.
I think that's right.
It's kind of you're out by that much maybe.
Can make a difference though, that. Yeah. And if that's a constant pattern, so obviously you wouldn't do it just once, you do it a couple of times, and just see where are your eyes in the correct position. Yeah, it is massive. Just watch that shaft position.
I forgot about that. So I get over that and I feel like that's too far left for how I've seen it. Okay. I know that's right.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the under reading's been coming from.
Okay.
And that's just pace. Did that start online?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
So the odd bad putt, I would say, the one thing maybe you could add on with the mirror when you're practicing is you still got this sort of tilt to turn pattern, which obviously is your pull, isn't it? Yeah, so you've still got a bit of that going on. And I think possibly just having something under your right armpit might help. So when you take a draft on here, you should feel like this works around as a visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put it under your left if you want, but I think just the fact that you need to feel like you're turning a bit more, you'll feel like this goes this way rather than that way.
Yeah.
It'll almost feel like you struggle if you tilt it a bit to pinch it in, rather than feeling like this is working more around in the backstroke. That would be the only thing I would say from a technical aspect, is it still sometimes gets there.
Yeah.
And then as you turn, obviously the putter head kicks out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From that position. To feel like it's working around on an axis. Try it on the mirror, because then you've got your aim sorted.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, I don't feel like I'm going to miss left now.
Okay.
Feels like I can, on a straight putt, I think if I've ever aimed straight on a straight putt, I feel like I'm going to miss left because of that tendency to go that way and then over the top.
Yeah.
When I actually turn, might take a bit of getting used to, but it's
But you use the word yourself, it's just about managing it.
correct.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You just
No, I'm never going to have
Yeah.
Nat Fitzpatrick stroke,
Yeah.
but nor's anyone.
Yeah.
But I know what my tendencies are through my sessions with you, and I've managed to manage it. And like you say, it's doing practice drills to. Yeah, that definitely feels from, so when I get in a normal setup, I think because I go that way, it's like almost straight back, everything's left, whereas now I feel like I'm on an inside path, where therefore I can just deliver it back, and I actually feel like I could push a few, because I'm always having to hold off and fight it.
But you won't.
No.
You've got that turn pattern on the way through, haven't you? So you'll always return it square anyway, won't you? The only thing I would add to you, of what obviously will give you that as a setup, the only thing I would say on those breaking putts of where you should do is that's where you should use the template.
Okay,
Because then you can fix it in on a fixed point.
Yeah.
You know, because if you just hit putts like that with a tee to tee, you don't know if you've started the ball line. Like you're relying on my feedback to watch. That's where I get you to put those template down on more breaking putts. Yeah. So work out the read, and that's almost your test as well. And it's working on your green reading because you've got fixed point, haven't you? So you can either put in the gate. If you want to, but you don't have to, but that same type of thing, isn't it, of gate, and then possibly you could put some on the outside line, couldn't you, to make sure the putter doesn't detract too straight, basically, on the way back on the outside. Other than that, that's what I would get you to do that. So 11 and a quarter inches away, left eye over the ball, with that under your right armpit. That's almost like the technique station, and then practicing your green reading is almost work out the green read and then put the template down on the read.
So then make sure your eyes are seeing it and you're starting it where you think you're starting it.
Yeah, and just practice that on shorter, straighter putts. Obviously you can't always find dead straight, but that's what I get you to do, Okay, so three points to focus on then would be obviously the shaft position at address. Yeah. Left eye over the ball from that calibrated setup. So left eye over, and then also the armpit turning more, so your right chest feeling like it opens a little bit more in the backswing rather than working more up.
Perfect.